better than ever. And I know right now that I'm going somewhere and I need some cheddar. Oh, baby, better.
Like, yeah, let's get them there. It's always great. But at the end of the day, you showing them seats isn't what's going to close the deal. And B2B, it's learning about their business and everything like that. And so you'll get more meetings if you allow your reps to just have virtual conversations. Like, most people are used to that now and they actually prefer it. Like, I'm not getting pitched if I'm not already interested, and I'm not going to drive somewhere to get pitched. Like, I'd rather just jump on a quick 15-20 minute Zoom, Teams call, whatever it may be. And let's just talk and see if there's even a fit. So the introduction of that through the pandemic and coming out of it has allowed so many salespeople to just get more done, be more efficient, allows business people to meet more people. So obviously, people get exhausted from that, they get burnt out, and it's now actually brought back in-person events, and they're making a comeback now because people are tired of it. But like, from a initial filling the funnel, initial discovery stage, like, that's the perfect opportunity just to see what even makes sense, instead of driving all the way out to their business and dropping in, taking 3-4 hours of your day to go across town and fight through traffic and have this discovery meeting to see if there's even a fit. Just jump on a quick Zoom call, and then, yeah, if it makes sense, then we'll go out there. Or if it makes sense because you have an event at the ballpark, you got a game they could come to, or just a reason they want to come down to the stadium, like, then let's do that, so that we're being most effective and efficient with our time, but also still getting that human to human interaction. One opportunity we have in sports is, a lot of times we're at the arena, we're at the ballpark, we're at the stadium. Like, you could do videos in there and just record yourself, like, hey, it's me, I'm here in the seats, or I'm here out in the bowl. Such a pattern interrupt that most buyers, most decision makers and prospects we're going after aren't going to get that. They're getting the same templated email that's on a blast, just like we talked about from the automation era, or like the automation era, where people are just blasting out through AI these messages that are just stale. They don't resonate. They don't hit home, anything like that. Now you can show up, differentiating yourself from all the other salespeople out there that are trying to sell them. And again, we're not competing against the other sports teams. We're competing against their sales and marketing budget and other people trying to get them to use dollars to grow their business, because sales and marketing budgets are here, employee incentive budgets are there. So if you're tapping into that, you're competing against Google ads, you're competing against Meta ads, you're competing against billboards, you're competing against all these other people that sell marketing and growth strategies and things like that. So if they're not using it, actually, I got a message from someone on LinkedIn. I didn't read all of it, but he said something around the fact that like 94% of buyers prefer like video or virtual interaction. Because he asked me like, hey, like, what are you seeing working with sports teams? And I just kind of spitballed here and like just threw a number out. I'm like, I'd say less than 5% of reps in sports are actually using video. Whether that's virtual interaction or just video messages. Like, it's a great way through LinkedIn where you could deliver video messages to people. Like, that's a great way to stand out and differentiate and get responses back and things like that. So in this digital age, there's LinkedIn, there's video. LinkedIn is such a tool, and I've shared this before, but we've seen big wins come out of people just using LinkedIn more organically, or just showing up more, being more present. And I love seeing more sales reps that are getting active on LinkedIn. I love seeing sales leaders who are just sharing thought leadership content with, whether it's the industry or the market that they're in, because that's what we're coming to show up to LinkedIn to see. We're not coming to buy. We don't want to see a sales pitch. We're not trying to buy your tickets. Like, we want to learn. We want to network. It's a social networking tool. So it's a great opportunity to stand out in a crowded market and really differentiate from other sellers that are just using the phones, or just using email, just using generic messaging. Like, where it's helped me the most is I could show up in a meeting and people are like, hey, I've read your content, I feel like it resonated. It just speeds the sales cycle up so much more. So instead of having to go on more meetings, I can go on less meetings that are more impactful, because I'm sharing my viewpoints, I'm sharing my thoughts out there. And if someone resonates with that, like, I'm attracting people that are aligned in our beliefs and values. And those that aren't engaged with that or don't like it, like, they'll know pretty quickly if I reach out, like, nope, I've seen this stuff, like, not interested. So that's fine too. So video, we got LinkedIn, and obviously I talk a ton about AI. And It's interesting right now. It's what we call like the wild wild west of AI. Like there's IT teams who are blocking AI from being used at all. So reps have to like go rogue and like use their cell phones on the side, or like bring their like tablets and like log in like offline out of the network so that they can use AI tools just to help them with basic stuff. And they're really using it very simply, like help me write a better email or help me research this company. But what we've learned and what we're teaching is the more thorough you make the prompt, the more specific you make it about, here's what good looks like, here's what I need it in like multi-level, multi-layered prompts in there, like the better response you're going to get back. And then you'll start to know like, all right, I need to push this a little more, like I could take bits and pieces and switch this up. But like really you just need to get out there and start using it. And I don't know, I get mixed responses. I get some people who are like, yep, I get it. Other people who just turned off immediately by just hearing AI or anything about it. But it's literally how we are going to work. Like this is just how we operate now. Like today, there was a bunch of things. Actually, my daughter, she was doing her homework yesterday, and she's like, "What's this word mean?" So usually I would have went to Google and searched it. I was like, "All right, ChatGPT, what's this word mean?" And boop, came out. Like so, there's like a personal use case for this now where it's becoming more mainstream and like people are using it. Like that's only going to seep into our business lives. And for me and our, I guarantee our clients and our prospects are doing this too. But when I research vendors, I start with Chat GPT, and it's like, all right, I'm looking for this type of vendor. Give me the top, five in this space, and then compare the two, or compare the five, or compare the three, whatever it is. So now when I show up to a call, I don't have to let the salesperson direct the conversation where they want to take it and try and sell me what they want to sell me. I already have enough of an understanding to know, all right, this is what I want. This is my use case. Same for tickets. People are definitely looking at like, what are the amenities of this basketball team versus that? Or if I'm going to use them to help grow my clients, what should I expect from like an average return? So they probably prefer more to talk to one of those tools than a rep. So we got to show up more informed and leverage these tools to help us. So when we go back into conversations, we could be more educated, and where it's really going to impact and do damage for salespeople in a good way is go back to the Rolodex era I talked about, where I was just calling companies and I had my lead list and I would like, highlight people and cross them off. Now there's kids coming out of college who know how to build agents, that know how to like do advanced prompting with like GenAI and Chat GPT. They're going to come and run circles around the dinosaurs in the industry who've just been doing things a certain way for so long. Like you could literally make half the amount of calls and book double the amount of meetings and just get that much more at bats and opportunities. And maybe you're not as skilled as a salesperson, but you're more educated, you're more well versed. Like we'll ask, every group that we work with, like who uses GenAI, who uses Chat GPT. The younger reps definitely use it. It's mixed between the leaders, and there's like a lot of like the more tenured premium people like I don't use that. But just imagine if you were to, with all of your industry knowledge, with all your expertise, and like now you could give a much more structured prompt to get the information that you want, that's going to help you and just get rid of a lot of that busy work. It's definitely going to change the profile of like what the seller looks like in the future. It's definitely going to change how we operate and how we do business, but we're already there. Like it's not going anywhere. It's not like, all right, this was just a fad. Like it's here, and it's only going to get better. My partner Jake, he does a ton of work around AI and implementation. He's like, this is the worst it's ever going to be. So if this is, and it's pretty good right now, so just imagine how it continues to build and how it continues to evolve and everything like that. So really, in this new era, leaders need to get out of like their old habits. They need to be proactive on this. The reps aren't going to be the one that's going to create change. It always starts with leadership. And what's interesting is at the top, like if you're an executive, you're up on most trends, or else your board or your executive teams and be like, all right, this person's outdated. We need to get someone new in who's forward thinking. So your president, your CEO, your COO, those people, they're thinking about AI. Every company I talk to and the executives I work with, they know about AI. They may not have the time to like implement it and like push change, but like they use it themselves. they know that this is like the future of where it's going. They know for their business to win, they need to be skilled and well versed in that. So the last thing you want is for your president to come to you and be like, hey, what's our genuine AI strategy? I was just at an industry conference. I was just at league meetings, and this team's doing XYZ with AI, and you have no answer. And you're scrambling. Like, I've been in that situation before. Like, it's like the worst place to be as a leader, director, sales leader, whatever it may be. So it's got to start with the top, and like you have to block time to do it. I know we're all busy. I know we're all stretched thin, and like I take block an hour, a couple hours each week just to like learn new stuff, so I could stay up to speed on it, and I can learn new things and try new things and listen to podcasts. But like that's where it's really going to start. And so if we're like, right, well, this is what's gotten me to this point in my career, like very quickly, like we're going to start to get washed out, and like these younger leaders, these newer people coming in the industry, or just people that have more of a forward-thinking, innovative like process, are going to come in and have a ton of success, and really modernize and see huge results for their sales teams and their organizations. And those are going to be the leaders of the future. Like the modern day CRO, the modern day president is a lot different than what it was before. The person who just maybe just kind of supervised, and like they had they were a top salesperson. They just kind of elevated. Like, you need someone who's strategic. You need someone who's going to implement these systems and processes and know how the tech works, so that you can get 2x 3x returns on the work that you're doing, not 100 calls a day, tracking activity and everything like that. It's great so people know like what they should be doing from an effort standpoint, but like what's the outcomes that you want, what's the outputs that you're looking to get, and everything like that. So yeah, where we're at today, there's people in all different camps, and the teams that are winning are the ones that are going back to some of the basics of like one-to-one relationships and things like that, small kind of micro events, not trying to push sales and just like blast out and spray and pray just like this at scale, this message, like really getting customized and personalized with their outreach and their touch points. And like they dedicate time to like really cultivate and nurture and grow accounts. That's one piece of it. But then the teams that are really winning are the ones that use these tools to be more informed and do that just quicker, just get more work done more faster and more efficiently and everything like that. So they're using LinkedIn, they're using video, they're using new technology, they're using GenAI and everything like that, and building out their playbook so that they're set up for long-term success, and they're teaching at the ground level how to do it. So these reps are up to speed, and the ones that aren't, again, are eventually going to kind of get phased out or just not see as much success, because it's going to do a lot of the work for us. Like, you're going to just show up, and like your leads are going to be there for you, your meetings are going to be booked, and like just more and more of the administrative process is going to get automated. There's a slide we have in our training. We ask the reps, like, how much time, what percent of time do you think salespeople actually spend talking to prospects, like actually doing like sales work? And so some say 50%, 75%, 80%, 23% is what the data shows. So how do we get these tools to help us get from that 23% to 50, 60, 70%? And that's only going to generate more business, because now you can learn about the business, you can learn about referrals, you can learn about growth and expansion opportunities, things that are going on in the industry, in the market, and just kind of not put so much stress on the work and the activity and the hours. Like, you can get more done in half the amount of time. So like that's just where we're eventually going to get to. So no, excited for where it's going to go as I continue to work with more teams and get insights and lessons and challenges that people are facing. Definitely going to continue to share that. But like I do with each episode, want to call it either like a question of the week or something that stood out to me that I noticed. So this week I spoke to a sales class at UM, a sports sales class at UM and University of Miami, and a sports management administrative class like at FAU. One of the students at FAU, we opened up to questions after I talked about a lot of actually this stuff that I shared in my talk with both of them. He asked, an interesting question, doesn't have to do with anything I've talked about yet. He's like, do you have to be passionate about what it is you're doing to see success? Like, do you have to be passionate about sales to be in sales? And I said, if you're going to be in sales, yes, I think you need to be passionate for that piece. But like, it helps if you're more passionate about like a certain role or certain job. And I talked about different clients I've worked with, or different jobs that I've had, and like, you know, I'll do more if it's something I'm passionate about than just kind of like doing the bare minimum of something that's just like a job just to get job. But I said you do have to be passionate about the work that you're doing, depending on whatever industry it is. So if you want to be in legal, like you got to be passionate about, being in the law field. If you're going to be in sales, you got to be passionate about the sales process. If you're going to be in business analytics and operations, you got to be passionate about systems and processes and structure. And it may not have to be sports or whatever industry it might be, but I just thought it was a very insightful question, just to, as he's thinking about, where he wants to take his career post graduation. Like, it really had me stop and think back on, I wasn't necessarily passionate about like, a certain team or working in sports or not in sports, but like I was passionate about the process and coaching and developing and like setting up a system so people could have success like that, and I think what really helped is like, all right, now I'm doing it in something that I could spend hours doing. I'd be watching on TV anyway. So if you could be blessed enough to kind of have the best of both worlds, that's amazing. That'd be great. Shout outs this week. I want to shout out. So I talked about, Tony Hilliard and Mackie, I think it's Fierstein, at University of Miami. They're both professors. They had me come in and speak to their class. What I want to shout them out is they're really giving their students like hands-on practical real world applications on like how to use these tools and how to use these systems, meeting with people who are actually in the industry versus just kind of textbook type stuff. And a few people actually messaged me and said like, thank you for coming in and sharing and like explaining to us like, how it actually is in the real world. A lot of stuff we learn, I know we're not going to do when I get out of college, or it's just not applicable, or just like seems just outdated and old school. So, shout out to them because they're thinking ahead. I know there's a ton of other professors out there that think like that, but they're really challenging their teams or their students to think differently, and get that exposure so they can be rock stars when they step into the workforce. So definitely want to call them and shout them out. But yeah, in closing to all this, depending on where you're at, like look to really advance to that digital, that AI, that video LinkedIn type strategy, because there's just so many returns in that. And if you focus more on the outcomes, like how many opportunities are creating, how many meetings are like, how many relevant conversations, like how fast we're moving deals to the pipeline versus activity, and just giving people a bunch of leads so that they can hit their activity, and just knowing hopefully like the percentages play in your favor, you're gonna have more success focused on the quality versus the quantity, and letting these tools kind of help you work more efficiently and effectively. But just pick one part of the process to work on for now, and like really hone in on that. There's a group of people I listen to on a podcast, and like they say most trainers, they want to teach like everything as much as possible and make it robust. Like they'd rather focus like 20% of the information, but 80% of their time like really honing in on that and getting really experts at like this area. Then we layer onto it, then we add on to it, but we try and like bite off the whole piece of the apple. I don't know if that's the same, but like bite off more than we can chew, and but really just focus on just one thing, and like start from there and then grow from there. But with us, things are really starting to pick up. A lot of what we say is like, it doesn't have to be us that you work with. Obviously, it'd be great if you did, but like, really, we just want to educate and inform people. Like, this is where things are going. This is where things are headed. And if there's others that could help with that, great. But starting to get movement across different sports leagues, and teams in the MLB actually going to head out to LA in a couple of days and work with the Angels sales team. The NBA, the NHL, the NFL, they're all starting to look at this. Minor league sports teams, college sports teams are starting to look ahead and think about how do we beat people in the industry, because very few people are talking about this and thinking about it. So definitely reach out if you want to just pick my brain and just talk through or hear what we're seeing from other teams, leagues, everything like that. But yeah, if this was impactful, definitely like the video, share this with someone in your network you think could get use out of this. Subscribe to the channel so that you get updates and new videos that come out each week. But as I tell my daughters every morning when I drop them off for school, or just when I see them in the morning, go be awesome today. And I'll be back next week with another video. Thanks,
That's
everyone.
nothing, that's nothing. I'ma be doing this and I'm gonna be head hunting. Oh, baby, don't know. Oh, baby, don't go. Oh, baby, don't know. Oh, baby, don't go.